Good morning, and welcome to Two Dudes, One Study Room podcast. Today we're going to be talking about embracing technology in construction, kind of just building the future and, adopting new methods and items to more efficiently get the job done. So, a little introduction here. My name is Corbin Moore.
And I am Charles Jones.
And, what we can expect here today is kind of just discussing the latest trends in construction data, how they're, that works. And kind of how they're influencing the efficiency of work, because what we're seeing is that there's a lot of people in companies that are still kind of doing things the old school way, and it's not as fast as it could be. Companies could save a lot more money, but we'll get into that. Also, we encourage any listeners to share thoughts in the comment section. If there was one, comment section. So yeah, we're gonna start out here with kind of the current state of construction technology. It's just gonna be like an overview of the traditional industry and how we kind of rely on older practices, and we're going to also talk about here is why there's a little bit of resistance when it comes to using new technologies in construction. So kind of, I don't know, I found something off you. Why do you think it's kind of slow? People, like, companies are slow, businesses are slow to adopt these new technologies, I guess.
I think one of the main reasons that companies are slow to kind of switch over to these new technologies is that experience with these said technologies. I know that most of our construction field right now is older guys that are starting to wheedle out. So I think maybe as us younger guys are coming in, that'll be something more common we see in our future. But just with the older guys not being able to pick up technologies as fast as we are, I think that's a big factor of why they haven't fully made the switch over to these new technologies we'll be talking about today.
No, I think it's a good point what you say about having the younger generation, I guess you could say, more used to these technologies, because they're the ones being taught how to use them first out of the gate. These guys kind of, these older guys, the generation getting ready to retire, but also the generation that knows the most about this industry, they're not using this stuff. They were never really trained on it, and they're just going to do what they know works. I mean, I don't blame them, but
I agree.
It's it can be frustrating, but so we're going to talk about here some examples of some of the existing technologies, that are still being in use today, that have kind of boosted productivity across the construction industry. So we'll start off here with building information modeling.
And hey, I'll take that one. Which is BIM, and it is project design and collaboration, and it's instead of traditional blueprints, teams now use 3D models, so you can further see the actual design before it's built, and you can kind of go in and eliminate problems that you might have on site. And I mean, from my standpoint, in my internship this summer with HSC, actually, there was this we had separate engineers and designers, and when I sat in on meetings with them, I don't even know what it was called, but this 3D blueprint was very well detailed, and you could like get down to every detail of where all the ductwork was going to be laid out in between the walls.
We had that too.
And like it was like something that I had never even seen before, and I thought that was like really cool.
It was sweet to see that too, because like on my internship that I did, we used this. We had like a whole department, our virtual design department, that would go in and design the buildings that we're building, and it was sweet because we could sit down as a team, go through this whole design, and we could identify problems before they even happen.
Yeah.
In the actual building itself. So this, I mean, I think it definitely helps
Like production.
production in the future, because like we can fix it and just detour it before it even happens. So it works out really well there. Drones and robotics.
Yeah.
This one's been coming up lately here. Drones. We actually use drones. We had I've seen Warfel, the company I worked for was Warfel Construction, and they would actually pay for employees to get their drone pilot license.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, and these people would go around, and we would use the drone to do a whole 3D scan of like, say, like we do with renovations too, and we would do 3D scans of it that we could then render into a BIM modeling thing. Drones and BIM kind of went together in the company, but then we also did like pictures and stuff for clients to show like progress. So that helps too.
Yeah, I didn't have any. I mean, the building I was working on this year or for the internship was all indoors, so I didn't really see anything too fancy like that.
Yeah.
But back to like the BIM, like the building information modeling with the 3D design stuff, I know that they did walk me through the process. I wasn't there for it yet because this building was fairly on from when I got there, but they did go in like with these like almost like a laser that would shoot 360 around the whole built, like around the whole, and that's how it scanned it and put it in to the like whatever 3D model that they use. There's plenty of them out there.
So, I mean, drones and another for surveying. I don't know if you've ever heard of like the total station. This was something completely new to me and completely new to the company I was with, actually. There was only one guy in the whole company of 200 some employees that knew how to use this, and that was only because he came from a company a couple months before that had taught him how to use that total station. But basically what it is, it's a layout tool. He taught me a little bit, some of the ins and outs, but honestly, to me, it was like rocket science. And I'd love to learn how to use it, but he said it's taken him years. But basically, it looks like a normal transit that it shoots a laser and all that, but it triangulates off of points that he had like hundreds of feet away, so that the laser actually knows where it's at. So we'd go up on like the third floor after they laid like plank, and then we'd lay out walls for our framers and stuff to come in, and so we would put the transit up, or the total station, we put it up, and we calibrate it so that it would triangulate off these points, know where it's at, and then we'd have like a screen, like a little iPad that came with it. It would go over with the prism, which was like basically like, if you could imagine like a pen, but you're drawing on the building itself.
Yeah.
That's basically what the prism was. So we take the prism over and line it up to where like an intersection of a partition would be or something. Mark that out, and you could get all these points, snap your lines, and you're good. Like you don't have to use a tape measure anymore. It was so quick. And I know they actually make that goes along with the total station. They make a robot that is compatible with it, and you literally just press go on this robot, and it goes around the whole floor and draws your line for you for the walls. Tells you what kind of walls. It's an insane piece of technology, but that's still being developed because like you have a lot of different applications of where you need walls. Like you're
Yeah.
putting walls on top of precast plank, and it's like bumpy up and down. So the robot wouldn't have worked for that. So now we're getting on basically a smart helmet. It's another good one. I haven't really ever had any experience with these, but from what I understand, they take your like pulse from like the temple or so. I don't know where exactly it gets it, but I know it keeps track of your pulse, your heart rate. Well, I guess that's the same thing.
Yeah.
But it keeps track of that to kind of show like a supervisor or foreman like, hey, like maybe someone's not doing so well today, or like kind of just helps them keep your laborers safe or whoever. But then it also helps with identifying like if someone like if it takes an impact, it measures like the force of the impact to show like if there's actually like a serious problem or not. But was there any other ones that you found?
Talking more about like the robotics thing, I know I didn't personally see this in the field, or actually I kind of did, because they have like this, we had a demo crew that was just a demo union. They came in, they just did our demo, they left. They come back in when the next phase of demo was ready, they left.
Yeah.
And I knew these were things, but I never saw it. But this dude, the one guy, certified in it, heavy equipment, stands on the side of the machine with like a remote control, almost like a joystick thing, and just does the demo and excavating all through.
Did it have like a breaker bar on it?
Yeah, and like he would literally just like he had like a harness on.
Right in here.
He would have like a harness on and like a joystick thing.
Yeah.
And he would literally just stand there and like play. It's like playing video games, dude. He would just
that helps with safety too.
Yeah, like he didn't have to be near like the edge of anything, and he would just sit there and dig out what we needed to dig or demo what we needed to demo.
Yeah.
And then we would just have like our guys that ran out the dirt. It was pretty dope. I mean,
Do you
I know
think
that's
it's more
not
efficient.
I think for the safety part of it and like the tight spaces we were in, because we were inside a building and not outside, and it couldn't be gas powered, I think that's where like it would be more efficient and things like that. And I mean, I know that's not completely new, but I still think you have to be certified in that, so like you can make more money in it if you're like certified to operate one of those. Because I mean, there was only one guy every day that did it, and that was the only guy.
Because you could mess a lot of stuff up.
Yeah. So I mean, that was pretty cool to see.
Here, I had another one I found that I actually was given the opportunity to work with this summer was the Sight 360 camera.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie, it kind of sucked. For me anyway, because we kind of used it as a documentation piece, but kind of to go over what it was, it's basically, if you can imagine like a GoPro, it was basically a GoPro, but it shot like 360. Like I'd be looking one way, but it would take pictures of like my whole surrounding. And what I would have to do as an intern would go into literally every corner of every room of the whole entire building and snap pictures. And we would do that kind of by phase, right? So we would start off like, we would have all the structural walls up because they would have to put the planks on top of that. And we'd go in, take all the pictures. That wouldn't be as many pictures because there isn't really much there, it's just big rooms. But then after the framing was done, we'd take pictures of all the framing. And then after all the MEP stuff was in, we'd take pictures of that. But we used it so that later down the road, like say you get your drywall on, where are the studs at? Maybe you're running into something new, or you're trying to do maintenance on the building or something. You can dive back into this Sight 360 and, see exactly where it's at. Or, hey, like, can I put something here? Is there a pipe, or is there, a chase here with wires? Stuff like that. It definitely helps with eliminating any risk there.
Did that then connect like to like the software Procore, or did that was that a whole different like?
No, it wasn't with Procore at all.
It didn't link together.
An app. I have the app on my phone actually. If I wasn't recording, I'd show you. But basically it was just pictures. All
Yeah,
pictures.
so
all
it's almost
pictures
it's like
inside
the
this app.
it's like Procore, how like I had to go around but instead of having like an advanced thing like Site 360, I literally had to
Take the picture.
one picture, the next picture,
Yeah.
and do a 360 of my own
Yeah.
while taking every single picture and uploading it that was like a weekly thing. Like you had to do it
Yep.
every Friday before you left.
Yep.
That was like
And then we'd send it out to the client so they give them an update.
yeah. I mean, all of our like subs and stuff were linked to this
Yep.
Procore. So like
Same deal. Yeah, it's pretty cool because it allows someone hundreds of miles away to actually be in the building.
yeah,
Like you can literally you can tap from picture to picture and it's like you're on Google Maps. You're just walking through the building.
I
It's
see.
like you're literally there. It's
I got
it's
you.
crazy stuff. So then I'd say like some more recent innovations that are coming in would be like AI. Like we're using AI in construction here.
Have you had any experiences with using AI yet? Because I really haven't, but
I haven't exactly. So one of the things I have written down here would be like for learning how to use certain equipment and stuff. I guess AI kind of develops a program in which like you can go and like kind of like with your when you're walking through the building here, you
Yeah.
can kind of they have it pairs with like virtual design I don't know if it's actually virtual design, but like you can actually be in a machine learning, and it's kind of like how you see like they play like the video games
Yeah.
with like
I got
the
you.
steering wheel stuff. They do that.
Oh, so it's like kind of a way of like learning heavy equipment, but like like without
Yeah.
actually being in the heavy equipment.
Correct.
Like you would just have like whatever you're in, all those
Yeah.
controls, and then it's like you got it on like a headset on or something,
Yeah.
and like you're kind of just like, I got you.
And they're also using AI in virtual design. I actually kind of got to see this a little bit, but with that Bluebeam software, I know you said you used
Yeah.
that before. They use that, and they would basically render out. I used it to help develop like landscape design for a project we were doing down in Virginia, and like I don't know, the guy that was doing it was way smarter than me, so I had no idea exactly what he was doing. I don't know technology all that well, but we basically developed a rendering of like a section of the landscape outside of this apartment, I guess, community that we were developing. So now that we've gone through kind of like some of the newer things in construction, newer technologies and stuff like that, let's kind of dive in kind of the key things that have driven this change. One of the main things I'd say that is kind of pushing this new development of the technology would be the labor shortage. Obviously, we're all, we've all kind of seen that. Just being in the industry a little bit, there's not many, younger, able-bodied people coming into construction, and there's older people, like we mentioned before, kind of getting out of that. So there isn't the shortage there comes is because there isn't as many people to teach, and there isn't as many people to be taught, which is huge gap here. Mainly in the skilled trades. So
Yeah.
to have technologies like this that we have talked about here to come in and kind of take that job. Now, there's always going to be, one of the things I love about construction is there's always going to be a part of it that a robot can't do.
Yeah.
It's always going to have to be someone physically doing it. I don't think we'll ever in our lifetime see a house or some type of building
Be completely built by robots.
exactly. I don't even know how that would look.
I was gonna say I can't imagine, especially with me working in the city all summer. I can't imagine like a robot doing the ironwork, like being up on a beam
Or swinging trusses
Yeah,
and stuff
like,
like that.
I don't-
Like stuff like that. Like a robot or framing, man.
I don't think that would be possible in our lifetime.
Yeah, I think the main thing with the skills gap and everything is because we have less people doing it, we need to pick up the efficiency of the people that are actually doing it. And I think with the technologies that are coming out now, they're helping the people out there do it be more efficient. That way there isn't, that gap in labor, I guess you could say. One of the other things here is I have is technology technology as a whole is really a solution to change all the problems that we're having. I will say though, robots are a lot smarter than we are. Rarely do they miss.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's usually because of us. And with robots coming in, it eliminates the errors that a human would make. And kind of like I was saying there before, like it helps be more efficient. It helps get the job done quicker because, robots measure once, cut once, if you know what I'm saying. It's they're not really cutting anything, but they do it the first time, they do it right. With humans, I measure 4 or 5 times, cut 3 or 4 times. It's how it goes. And then another one I have here is sustainability. And kind of with that, sustainability is becoming more and more of an upfront thing in construction. I don't think, I don't know what you've seen, but I know there's a lot more push to build green, and the more sustainable you can build and the more efficient you can build, the better it is for the environment. And I think the technologies that are coming out now are helping with that.
I think it definitely is going to play a huge role in that. And I guess talking more of the robot side of things, one other thing I was thinking about is it wasn't really like a newer or tool that we used, but it was something in the talks. My superintendent in our free time for not meetings or stuff, he was always just on the computer in the office, and if I wasn't doing something for him, I would be sitting down in there, and they had it was almost those little robots that clean vacuum your floors.
The Roombas.
The Roombas.
Yeah.
It was something like that, but at a higher advancement type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I forget, this was a long time ago, but it could clean the construction site, because we had floors that
nobody wants to do that.
We had floors that weren't it was just a pathway to get to where we were working, and they would just get dusty 24/7, and then the art museum would get pissed at us, and then I would have to go clean it. And it was just something that we always joked about, just imagine having that run up and down the hallway for us, because workers would find different ways to get to work and not take off their not clean off their boots or whatever, and just drag dust everywhere. So even a Roomba would have been a smart idea for us, just because every time I would be the one that had to do it. I mean, maybe the company didn't really care, but I hated doing it.
And that helps too, because normally you find the people that are doing that job of cleaning and stuff like that, I know you're learning how to work hard, but you could be spending that time with a more experienced employee or something like that, learning a skill that could make you
I think that's
better.
even maybe something we will see in the future is someone out there is gonna come up with something that makes cleaning up the job site 1,000 times easier.
There's stuff like that all the time.
Just without a broom and a mop. There's gonna. I feel that's something in the future that we'll see here soon.
I was out at the Builders Show this summer in Vegas, and there was stuff like that. It was kind of like a Roomba, but it was some type of construction vacuum broom all in one, where it picked up whole coffee mugs or coffee cups like this. It picked up bigger stuff, not just dust all around the site.
I mean, that might have been actually what we were looking at. It was something crazy. I was and
it puts it in a bin and stuff like that. But again, it all comes back to increasing that efficiency. So then we're going to talk about now, kind of moving into another segment here, where like we're going to talk about why do you think there is such, like, if all this stuff is so good, so great, why isn't everyone using it?
I mean, one of the things I had jotted down, I mean, and we had mentioned this earlier on in our podcast, but I think it's just like, if we have all these new inventions coming out, one, it's going to cost the company a lot more money because it's brand new, and then it's going to cost the company even more money because you then have to train either all your employees in this or just certain employees, and then if you only train certain ones, then they're going to want more money because not everyone else that's coming in and getting hired knows how to do it.
So the return on investment there could be questionable.
Like, it depends on if, are you going to make the money back that you're spending into this fast enough to where it's worth it, or is it like something that you don't want to do because of you're not going to make that money back quick enough, and then it might not be worth it.
Yeah, and it's questionable because I don't think a lot of people have seen the true benefits yet, because time hasn't gone on to where we can see, hey, how does the total station help? How does that? Because not a lot of people have used it and seen the benefits of it. But I think as time goes on, it'll definitely grow.
I think it's just something that's going to take time to see. Like, once one company proves that they're like so successful, they're like
flying.
Like we talked about like before. I mean, in Mr. Jones's class with like I had this like the 3D homes.
Yeah.
How they literally just have the machines that can dump out 3D homes, but not every company is going to be like, hey, that's what I want to spend my money on until they can.
How are they going to be next 20
until
years?
They prove that it's either more efficient, quicker, makes your money back faster. Like, not everyone's going to jump right on and do that.
And that's what it's all about. Kind of like going along with that, one of the things I had jotted down was like the whole like cultural resistance towards the whole thing, like the whole stigma of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, like, and that's why I think a lot of these older guys in construction or women, they've always just done it and it's always just worked. So it's like, why would we confuse ourselves and possibly take up more time trying to learn it, where in the end it might actually be more efficient, but the risk of trying something new is like, I don't feel like the construction industry feels like they have the time to really develop ways to use some of this technology yet, to where like it can be beneficial and work better than something that already has been used. Another one we kind of touched on already too is like the lack of training and skill sets. You kind of touched on it when you were talking about how bringing in new technologies, you're gonna have to train them as well. Like, that's just another thing that it's like, oh shoot, not only is this new, we don't know how to use it, but now we have to take the time to train someone on how to use it, where they could be doing something else. There's always that too.
I know another like other big thing that's coming along with this like build green and like these new technologies is you're seeing a lot more like modular homes. Like when we went and toured that facility with Mr. Francis, and we're like, I know that's like technically kind of a new technology, technically not. Because you're still using the same old practices and
building systems,
like the same building systems and stuff. And it was like obviously proven to be faster, because I forget the exact time frame, but they said they could have it out on site in like 16 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, like it didn't matter.
Your house is there.
But I mean, some of the things we saw was like when you're walking like through like these demo buildings that they had for us, like there's cracks everywhere, and like you don't know what problems you're really going to run into.
And it's still being developed.
Yeah, and it's like still being developed. Like maybe further down the line, it's going to be like even more efficient. Like, I mean, it was proven that it was more efficient because they could have your house wherever you were in the United States out to like in like 16 to 18 weeks. But at the same time, when I was walking through it, I was like, I could build something nicer.
And kind of going along with that, it's like not only is there new physical things, tools, and such, that are being developed. But kind of like what you were saying, like there's new systems too.
Yeah.
That like your modular system, for example, like that is being developed to be more efficient and pump out houses to meet the demand of the consumers. Last thing I kind of had down here was integrating these new technologies, and that could be a challenge because say you have a company that's pretty traditional in the way they do things, and they're trying to up their production rates and stuff like that. They have to find a way to then morph this new technology into what they're doing, and that could be a challenge too. Not only with training, but just with the whole cycle in which a company does a house or a apartment complex, that kind of stuff. It can make that look kind of tricky. So, kind of to wrap up here, we're going to talk about kind of how we can overcome the challenges of this. And one of the things I have down here is partnerships with the companies that are actually developing these technologies. I feel like if there's more time to slow down and be like, hey, we're gonna have the company go in today, and maybe the Total Station guys are coming in and they're gonna show us how to do this today instead of FAFO. It's you're gonna go in there and you're gonna learn how to do it, and then you can use that knowledge you've been taught to improve your company. What were some of the things you thought of?
And I was just like what you were saying, but I think the partnerships, I think that would be a huge thing that companies could do. Is I know that we had days where you would come into the office and you would meet and you would talk, it would almost just be how you just meet with your company or your subs throughout the day, and it's how can we do this better type deal. If you had those companies come in and train you on something specific, with the new things that are coming out, even if it's a half day, that could then those guys now your workers now know, and when you have people like us come in as an intern, we could then get more familiar with it, and I think it would just keep trickling down, and it would eventually your whole company knows what they're doing instead of having to take specific time to train the whole company at once.
Yeah. One of the other things I had too was I know they kind of do this when building in cities and stuff like that, but I think having some type of government support, like a tax break and stuff like that for using some of these technologies, you kind of just you kind of throwing a company a little bone to use the technology and kind of forcing them to develop their own practices on their own. And with that, you're kind of already getting that return on your investment by having that money come in from the government and kind of boost that, like I said, return on that investment. What were the other things I had? I had one other one here. Kind of when you're looking to put a new technology in, we need to, I think, identifying the exact areas in which a company needs to improve, and setting those aside and be like, hey, these are the things we need to focus on, and we need to get better at this, because maybe you have a branch of your company that is not as efficient as another one because you don't have as many people that are skilled in that specific area.
Yeah.
Honing that in and finding a technology, instead of just going around and be like, oh, this is cool, we should get this. No, I think defining what needs to be fixed kind of helps a company, target in on what they can improve on. So, with that,
I think that's about all I had.
That's another one. I mean, really, we just got to call into action here what needs fixed, and we need to realize as an industry that times are changing, right? Construction's always kind of been one of those things that a lot of the methods in which we use are, 50 some years old.
Yeah.
Like there's, don't get me wrong, there's new materials coming out that we build with that we have to learn how to use, but a lot of the methods and the way we do things are old.
Yeah.
And if we can realize as an industry that those things need to be improved, need to be changed, just like the world we live in, I think the construction industry can boom.
Yeah,
Boom.
I think it would definitely ramp up even more than it is.
Yeah.
I think definitely it would ramp up if people can accept the fact that it's not always going to be the same, and people are going to come out with more efficient ways to do things. And I think that's about all I had written down.
So yeah, we want to thank you, the listeners, for tuning in to another episode of Two Dudes, One Study Room. Thank you.
Thank you.